Okay, so heart melting and Cobra. Bring my mat back underneath the hammock. This is a posture that the hammock should be at mid-thigh level. So mid-thigh level, if you want to write that down. So I'll adjust this. It's a little bit too low. Okay. So mid-thigh level. And you know, if you have any students in your class with knee issues, offering them a blanket for underneath their knees or something like that, because we'll be down on our knees for a minute. Okay. So we want to cue our transitions just as much as the poses, because working with this fabric is a new thing, and so it can be really awkward. So I like to tell them everything, and it's up to you how you progress in your teaching style, and it's not necessary, but just with my experience, it's what I found to be really helpful. So I tell them to grab on around shoulder height and just come down to one knee and then the other behind the hammock. From here, we're going to do a wrist trap. So for the wrist trap, I'm going to try and face this way a little bit to do it. The wrist trap, the wrists are in the hammock, palms facing down. Palms come up underneath the hammock and back towards your face. And then rotate the palms away from you to grab onto the hammock.
Can you do that one more time?
Mm-hmm.
Palms down.
Yep. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get another carabiner real quick, just so you can see this a little bit better in the video. I'm going to get that handle out of the way, because I think that's getting in the way a little bit. So give me just a second here, because I want to not have this in our video view. Okay. There we go. So, we are down on our knees, wrists are in the hammock, palms facing down. The palms come underneath the hammock and back towards your face. Then rotate the palms away from you and grab on to the hammock. From here, we're going to keep the hips above the knees and lean forward, letting the chest fall towards the ground. Get my hair out of the way for that too. Okay, so the chest is toward the ground. This is called heart melting pose. So we're breathing here. And it's important to cue breath here, because sometimes heart openers and back bends can be really vulnerable. So I try to cue things like, you know, take a deep breath in to a wide open heart, accepting everything that God and the universe has to offer us fully and freely. And then also from a medical standpoint, you know, we do everything in front of our chest all day. We drive. So, you know, we drive, we are on our phones, we're on the computer, whatever. Everything is causing us to be in this like hunched over state. So we're opening it up. So we're going in the opposite direction of the way that we're used to being and not even realizing it. It doesn't feel natural and it doesn't feel normal. And it feels very vulnerable. So I try to give that credit, you know, and let people know that that's a normal thing to feel. One thing you do want to cue when you're in this is that if they notice any tingling sensation in the hands or arms, to come out of it, because that is a nerve impingement somewhere in the spine and that is not normal. So if they're feeling it, any like electrical type of pain, come out of it. So then we give options from here. So from heart melting pose, we're going to give them the option to come forward and bring the hips to the ground. So I always like to say you can stay here, or if you want more, bring the hips to the ground and come into Cobra. Really take deep breaths in and out through the nostrils. So a lot of the place where this pose has the most complaint is in the lumbar region of the back or the SI joint. So with that, we want to tell them, as far as cueing for this, to relax the buttocks, try and relax. If there is any compression or congestion in the lower part of the back, engage the core. If you engage the core, then the back side of the body has to lengthen. So if you engage the core, it should alleviate that. And just keep breathing. I usually keep them in here for about 5 breaths. And getting out of this is just as important as coming in, because we're in a compromised position here. So I like to inflate the lungs so that the rib cage is supporting the spine. Everything's supported as we come back up. So on the next breath, I'm going to take a deep breath in, hold it at the top, pull down on the hammock, and come back up to the knees. And then exhale, sit back on the heels, release the wrist wrap, shake it out. I think it's called a happy puppy in there too, because you can also take a different version of that where our arms are out straight and our booty's just kind of up in the air. We don't really do that often, but that's why happy puppy is listed there as well.
Even what the direction in which people look is going to help with their low back too.
Absolutely. You
So
have them.
craning the neck forward.
Yep, that's a good point. So usually the cueing for that, especially in Cobra, let me get back into it, is to have the gaze down toward the end, about 1 foot or 1.5 feet in front of you on the ground. Because you're right, the cervical spine, the direction that your head is facing, it makes the biggest difference. So you don't want them looking up, because it compresses the cervical spine, that spine in your neck. Okay, we want it straight. So straight is about 1 foot or 1.5 feet in front of you towards the ground. And that's usually about where the end of your mat is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can cue them to look towards the end of their mat. Thank you. It's hard to remember everything.
I was just thinking, like,
Yeah.
I think there was a moment where even I was looking up at my shoulders. You know what I mean? So I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
All right.
It's easy to forget when you do it every day.
It is.